Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this 13-inch MacBook Pro model A1708 2017. Alright, so we're going to need a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver. We'll also need a Pentalobe 0.8 or P2 screwdriver. We'll also need a T8 or Torx 8, a T5 or Torx 5, and a T3 or Torx 3. All right, if we need any other tools, we'll go from there. But anyways, you don't want to buy just individual screwdrivers. I had a few people ask me like what specific screwdriver. You don't want to buy individual screwdrivers like that. You actually want to buy like the entire set. I'm not sponsored, but the iFixit one, the bits are actually really good. There are cheaper sets, but if you use those, you want to be careful. If the screwdriver skips out of the screws, you don't want to keep trying, because then you can strip the screws and then that'll be a nightmare. All right, so we're going to remove all the screws on the bottom. You want to keep all the screws in order. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like this on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So you have this kind of like U shape here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and remove all of those. If this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. So this customer was having some keyboard issues, and we basically bought the entire Palmrest assembly with a bunch of components attached to it. So we're just going to be swapping all of that over. Okay. Oh, one other thing that will help is a suction cup, or you can use some tape. But once you get all these screws out, you can see there's like no way to kind of get in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this suction cup here near the front of the laptop, and then you can pull it up and you can get a gap to form here. Okay, once you get that gap to form, you can use plastic pry tools or your fingernails. All right, and then you're going to want to work your way down the side. I use my thumb to push down on the palm rest part, and then my other fingers to pull up, and then we're just going to pull up like that, and there we go. Right, we're going to work our way down the other side, and do the same thing. There are clips in the middle, but usually after you pull the side clips out, the middle clips are already going to come out on their own. Okay, so we're going to go around and continue same thing. Pop this up. All right, and you want to get close to the middle if you can. All right, so let's go ahead and turn this up like this. And then to remove this cover, what you want to do, we're going to grab here like this. I use my fingernails here to grab so that way my fingers don't get cut by this sharp metal piece here. Okay, so while we're pulling this down, we're also going to push here and have my fingers wrapped over so this doesn't fall over. Okay, and we're just going to pull that down. All right, if it doesn't come out, you can go to the other side and do that. And then hopefully one or the other side will come out. If it doesn't, just keep working on each side back and forth, and eventually it will come out. All right, here you can see there's a bit of dust in here. It's not too bad, but it is pretty dusty, so we are going to have to clean that up. All right, so here's what you can see inside. The 2017 13-inch models are the only ones, are the last ones where they made the SSD removable. There's actually two T5 screws here and this tape. Once you remove that, you can slightly pull it up and slide it out over the speaker. But I'm not going to do that because then this adhesive can't be reused. I don't know if somebody worked on this before, but this piece is usually slid over further to the right. So yeah, it looks like somebody probably did something to this before. But anyways, this battery's all kind of wrinkly here. So the replacement actually has, it looks like an aftermarket battery. But this is what the replacement came with. You can see it actually came with the fan and the cable here for the headphone jack. All right. And has the trackpad, has the battery. We will have to transfer over the little cable here that goes into this battery part. But yeah, mainly the logic board or motherboard, whatever you want to call it, the screen, and then this rubber piece is going to have to be transferred over. All right, so let's go ahead and set that aside. Okay, so now we're going to, I'm going to take this outside, use a toothbrush to brush this stuff up, and then use an air blower to clean off the dust. And yeah, and I'll be back after that. See you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So you can see, all right, it's a lot cleaner inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue taking things apart. So first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery, of course. All right, so zoom in. We're gonna remove this plastic piece here. Okay, you want to slowly, carefully peel this up. It looks like the person stuck this to the cable somehow, so make sure this cable doesn't get ripped out. Okay, all right, slowly, carefully peel this up. Okay, there we go. So replacement battery doesn't even have this, so might have to see. Okay, all the adhesive that needs to be off is off. So let's go ahead and remove this little cable here. We're also going to switch over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, let's go ahead and peel this up a little. Okay, once you get this out of the way, we're gonna flip this little plastic latch here up. Okay, so I just used my fingernail, but basically we're flipping this plastic thing there up. All right, once you flip that plastic latch up, you can go ahead and grab this cable as close as you can to the connector and kind of just pull it out. All right, you can see it came out pretty easily. Then we're gonna go ahead and use the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver to remove this screw here. Okay, and once you've removed that screw, we're gonna have to slightly bend this metal tab away because right now you can see it's still touching that board. So we're gonna bend that slightly up, and now the battery is disconnected. All right, once you've disconnected the battery, we're gonna open up the MacBook. All right, and then we're gonna press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds. This will drain any residual power and will make it a lot safer to work on. All right, so this is very important, especially since we're working on the screen. But yeah, I had a few people ask me if they need to do that. I mean, it takes 15 seconds, so just do it. All right, so anyways, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead now and close that back up. Okay, so now we're going to have to go and disconnect everything. I'm going to go through removing the screen first, okay? Since we're already using the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, I'm going to remove these screws here, though. To make it a little easier, you can actually switch around with the screwdrivers. You can go to the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver and remove the other stuff first. Again, you want to make sure to keep all these screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. And if you mix them up, you are going to end up having problems, okay? So we've got all those 4 screws. We're going to also remove this screw here for the wireless antennas. Okay, so now that we got all 5 screws out, we can go ahead now and pop these wireless antennas up. I just use my fingernails, get underneath at the tails, and then just pull it straight up. Okay, just like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same with this one. Just go at the tail and then just pull straight up, and you can see it pops out. Okay, we're now done with the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver for those. We're going to switch over to the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver, and we're going to start going across this way. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove these the plastic cover here. Sorry, I said 2 because there's 2, but I'm going to do this one first. Okay, and because this isn't just a screen, this isn't a screen disassembly video, we don't actually have to take all these little metal plates off for these because these are going to just stay attached there, and that's fine. All right, we're going to remove these 2 screws here holding this little spring-loaded part in place. Okay, again, hopefully you guys are able to keep all these screws in order. It is a lot of screws. Okay, now we're going to go to the middle here and remove these metal covers to disconnect the screen from the logic board or motherboard. Okay, and you want to be careful and go slow when taking these screws out. You want to make sure that it's not going to strip the screws. If for some reason your screwdriver is kind of wobbling and not getting a good grip, you want to either try a larger screwdriver, or if it won't even fit, of course, use a smaller one. But if that doesn't work, then you're going to want to actually purchase a better quality screwdriver set. Okay, again, I found these iFixit bits work pretty well. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I actually don't really like this. I mean, I like the grippiness of this handle, but I don't like the design because on another set I have, this part is extendable. And if I'm using this set for like desktops or things where these screws go kind of further down, this handle doesn't reach far enough and it's not too good. So I tried using another set, the handle from another set, but the problem with that was it wasn't grippy enough. So this is actually good grip wise. But anyways, we're gonna now pop this connector out. So I'm gonna hold this down, and then I'm just getting underneath there and popping this up. Make sure you're only popping the edge of this. You only want to lift this connector up. You don't want to rip this connector on the board out. Okay, now we're gonna remove the 2 screws over here, holding this spring-loaded piece in place. Okay, 2 screws holding that down. I just got a call. I might have to check my phone real quick, but anyways, got those screws out. Okay, then we're gonna go down over here, and then we're gonna remove these 2 screws and take this plastic piece out. Okay, right, and then you lift it up slightly and pull it back. If you want to just learn how to replace the screen, I have videos showing how to do that. This one isn't exactly a screen disassembly video. Okay, next thing, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the Pentalobe 0.8 or P2 screwdriver, and we're going to remove all these screws holding the wireless antenna in place. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Again, hopefully you guys are able to keep all the screws in order. Okay, it's a lot of screws. Okay. Alright, after I get this antenna thing out, I'm going to have to check my phone because I'm getting lots of calls. Alright, so got that side out. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to the other side and do the same thing. This one screw's not going flat. There we go. Alright. Go. Alright, so now we got all those screws out. Let's go ahead and pop the wireless antennas out. I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see a little better. So what we're going to use these air vent holes from the antennas to pull this thing up. Alright, we're going to go from both sides here, and you can see it's stuck in the center, but you got to kind of work it and pull it up, and there we go. Alright, then we're going to guide this wireless antenna, the 2 wireless antennas through this little hole. If you want, you can kind of bend these to be more straight, and then we're going to rotate this to get that out. Okay, so anyways, I have a call and some text to answer, so I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. Let's go ahead and continue. We're going to now remove the screen. So the way we do that, we're going to actually open up the screen all the way. Alright, you're going to see my messy desk, but anyways, what we're going to do, we're going to put the flat side down, keyboard side down on our desk, and hang the screen over the edge. Okay, so let's go ahead and see here. Can you see that? All right, you can see. So here we have the screen hanging over the edge of the desk. We're going to now switch over to the T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver, and we're going to remove the 3 screws from each hinge. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove those screws. Again, keep all these screws in order. I know it's a lot of screws. Okay. Alright, so we got these 3 out. We're gonna remove these 3. I don't know why their screen is like kind of getting some dents on the back at the bottom here. Maybe the hinges are breaking internally. But anyways, let's get all these screws out. Oops, I need to move that over. Okay, last screw. Alright, so now we got that out. We're going to let the screen fall to about 90 degrees, and then we can lift it out just like that. Here you can see, I don't know what these dents are from, but yeah. Okay, we'll set the screen aside now. Let's go ahead and zoom back in. and begin working on removing the motherboard or the logic board, whatever you want to call it. It's actually called a logic board, but yeah. All right. So we're gonna now switch back over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. At least let me double check. It might need actually the T3. Oh no, okay, wait. Why are these so loose? Did they strip these out? Oops, I actually switched to the wrong screwdriver. Okay. T5, all right. For some reason I picked up the T3. I didn't have it right order. And now we're going to remove all these screws. Okay. Again, keep all the screws in order. So now we're removing the screws for the trackpad or touchpad. Let me actually zoom in a bit here. Okay, once you remove the 2 screws, you can take this metal plate out, and then we can do the same thing and pop this out just like the LCD LVDS connector. So just get underneath there. I like to go under the corners and then kind of just pop this out. Why is it stuck? Okay, come on. Okay, there we go. So we pop that out. All right, now we're gonna go and look at the motherboard and see if we have any other screws we need to remove. Again, trying to make sure to keep everything in order. All right, so we're gonna remove this screw up here first. I'm gonna go left to right, top to bottom. That might make it easier to remember. So we got that. Do we need to remove this? It looks like it. Let me see the other one. Okay, no, we don't need to remove those. That's like to remove some other stuff. Okay. All right, so we're gonna keep going over, and then we have another screw here. So let's go ahead and continue going down. The replacement has the speakers already. Actually, let me zoom out so you can kind of see the whole thing. Okay, so we don't need to remove the fans. We do have to remove this. So let's go ahead and remove this little connector thingy. Okay. This is for the headphone jack, I believe. All right, now that we've removed those 2 screws, we're gonna take this metal plate off. All right, there we go. We'll set that aside. Okay, and then we'll pop this connector up. All right, just like this. Come on, pop off. Why are these connectors all holding so strong? That's so strange. Okay, there we go. All right, and then if you want, you can peel this up and move it out of the way, but since we are leaving the fan here, it's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and actually peel this up and see. Okay, so this will come out as well. All right, and we're gonna take this rubber piece out just like that. It has parts that actually tuck underneath, so yeah, actually maybe I should have just left that. Okay, well, we'll leave that for now. Okay, I'm gonna now go ahead and take this screw out here that's holding the motherboard down. Okay, and we're gonna continue working our way over. I'm gonna remove the 2 screws holding the SSD, but actually let's remove this one first. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and remove the 2 holding the SSD. Just like this. Okay, then we're gonna remove this one up here. Okay, and I think we actually got all the screws holding the motherboard down. So next we're gonna disconnect these cables here. So we're gonna go here, peel this up. Actually, let me zoom in again. Might have to rotate this sideways to make it easier. So let's go ahead and turn this over here so I can get a better grip. So we're gonna peel this adhesive piece back. All right, then we're gonna flip this latch up. All right, just like this. Okay, and once that latch is flipped up, we can actually pull this cable back using this adhesive strip. If it doesn't come out, then you might have to use some tweezers because it is kind of stuck. But why is it stuck in there so hard? Come on. I can actually see the motherboard's moving, or the logic board is moving. There we go. So I had to hold the, let me zoom out. I had to actually hold the logic board still with this to pull it back. All right, now we're gonna fold this back slightly. All right, and then there's a cable under here. We're gonna peel this plastic tab back as well, flip that latch up, and same thing, we're gonna pull this cable out if we can. Okay, just like that. All right, so we got those two out. We're gonna fold that back slightly as well. All right, now we're gonna go over to this side, and same thing, there's another cable here. I believe these are for the speakers. Okay, peel that up, flip this latch up. Okay, now that we got that flipped up, we're gonna go ahead and same thing, pull this cable out. Again, I might have to hold the board forward. Okay, I don't know, it doesn't want to come out. Let's see if we lift the motherboard out, if we can get it out. So we're gonna slightly lift, oops, let's zoom out here. We're gonna lift starting here, but you want to be careful because you don't want to put too much force, and then you can actually end up breaking this piece. So once you get that enough where you can kind of reach over here, then you're gonna go over to this. Make sure all these cables are out of the way. You might have to kind of bend them back slightly as you're lifting it. Okay, slowly lift this up. Yeah, this one's gonna be somewhat stuck. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of work the motherboard out. Okay, I got most of it out. Let me see, do I need to use a tool to get this up? Yeah, this one is like pretty stuck in there, so I'm gonna kind of just wiggle it. Sorry, I know my head got in the way. All right, there we go. All right, so now that we got that, we can go ahead and kind of lift this higher and kind of wiggle this out. And here we go, we got the motherboard logic board out. If you need to redo the thermal paste, you actually have to get to the bottom of the motherboard. These are actually like spring steel or something. All right, and then you can actually remove this cable. There's two screws underneath this plastic piece, but I'm gonna leave that there. Okay, we're gonna, oh, okay, so we should have actually just left this rubber thing. We didn't have to peel it up. So I'm gonna just wrap this back on. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're gonna fix that later when we put it into the replacement. All right, so there we go. That's the logic board. And again, the SSD is removable, but this kind of tape, if you peel it up, it won't stick back down, and that's why I don't want to take it out. All right, let's go ahead and set this aside for now. We're gonna take a look at the replacement and make sure everything looks right. Okay, getting some more text messages, so I might have to stop for a bit. You can see you got both connectors here. You got this connector here, and you could technically remove the speakers if you want. There's just two screws, and then you can take it out, and that would probably make it easier to get this out as well. But yeah, all right, trackpad connector here, and then the headphone jack connector. I think that's everything. So we're gonna set aside this old one for now, because that one's broken. I'll put this over here, and we're gonna reinstall the motherboard here. You want to make sure if you're getting a replacement that it has all these little screw mounts, okay? Because sometimes they'll be missing, so make sure. Okay, looks good. All right, so I think everything else is in place. Okay. All right, so let me actually answer my phone calls real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and put the logic board or motherboard back in place. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back, so let's get this thing reassembled. So we have this rubber thing back on here. This is important because it helps guide the air through that pathway so it doesn't just flow back into the computer. Okay, this basically seals it off when the cover goes on top. Okay, now the tricky part is getting this thing back in because you have to hold all these little cables and connectors out of the way. I'm gonna put this back in at an angle, get the USB-C ports lined up. All right, then we gotta slowly, carefully drop this down while getting these three other cables out of the way. Okay, just like this. Slowly, carefully. All right, okay. Make sure that's out of the way. And there we go. Okay, I think we got everything lined up properly. Okay, the USB-C ports are important that they are kind of pressed up against the side, so you kind of want to push it over while you're putting the screws in. So let's go ahead and take one of the screws first. And then while we're kind of holding it in, you can use whatever raised components to kind of help pull it over. Okay, and we're just going to get that screw back in. Come on. Here we go. All right, so we got that one in. Now that we got that, we can go ahead and actually we'll put these two, and then we'll go ahead and try and reconnect all the cables. Okay, so let's get the two SSD screws back in. Okay, look at all these screws in.
You hear me?
Got someone calling me for food for lunch, but let me finish this first. All right, so we got this screw here. Okay, and we'll get this screw here. Okay, and now let's go ahead and try and get these cables in. It's going to be a little tricky. Okay, so make sure that latches up, of course. All right, sorry, it's wobbly. I don't know. I need a better mount that doesn't wobble so much. But anyways, make sure to peel back the adhesive that's on the connector. Okay, and then we're going to pull this piece back. I like to use my fingernail to do it. And we're basically going to kind of roll it a little bit. Actually, let's go ahead and try if we remove the speaker. It might be a little bit easier to do this. So there's two screws holding the speaker in place. Okay, you can actually see it's all moving all over now. So we can actually, I think we can, yeah, just lift the screw or the speaker out. All right, and then hopefully it'll be easier now to kind of get this in, because we can kind of hold this up at an angle. And then we can bend this wire or cable down a tiny bit more. It is still pretty tricky, so I don't know, maybe that doesn't really help. Okay. All right, well, yeah, that doesn't really help too much. Let's go ahead and lower it back down. Okay, I guess we're just gonna have to use our fingernail to help pull it back more, and then get that lined up. And there we go, that worked. Okay, let's get these screws back in. Sorry if my head was in the way, I couldn't see what I was doing because I was trying to focus on getting that into place. Okay, and we're just gonna put these screws back in for the speakers. Uh-oh, why is this not going in right? It's like all wobbly. Okay, let me see here. Use a magnet to get the screw back out, if it will come out. Oh, I see. It pulled the screw out from the keyboard. Shoot. Okay, so like I was mentioning earlier, that little screw mount. Okay, so we gotta line this up, right? I don't know if my head's getting in the way. If it is, I'm sorry. All right, and then we'll get that in. It's not going in right. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, I mean, it is holding, so I'm confused. But it just keeps spinning. All right, well, this one tightens in just fine. This one, for some reason, just keeps spinning. So let's see. Can we take this back out, or is it permanently stuck in there? Okay, so I don't know. I guess the screw mount there is probably stripped, so that little piece down there you can see. All right, I'm gonna try and hold that in place, and we'll get this screw in. I'm gonna go eat lunch after I get this back in. So yeah, I don't know why this one doesn't want to connect all the way. Okay, maybe that screw mount is bad. We're gonna leave that as is. Okay, now that we got this speaker into place, we're gonna flip that latch down and then stick that down. So again, I don't know why that's not going in right. Maybe that's how it was, because they just shipped it to me. So okay, let's see, maybe moving it around might help. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, it's not finding the screw mount hole or something. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat lunch and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So let's go ahead and start connecting everything else. We got the trackpad connector here. Just get it lined up and push it down. Okay. All right, it has some like dust coming out, so let's clean that up. Okay, we're gonna get these two connectors into place. Make sure again that the latches are up. This one might be a little tricky because there's too much stuff in the way, but let's go ahead and try and pull this back. Okay. Okay, push that down into place. Come on. There we go. We can use this to help pull that in. Okay, hopefully that's in all the way. Alright, looks good. Flip that latch down, put that adhesive back over the top. Then we're going to get the speaker one as well. Again, make sure the latch is up. This back. Get that into place. Alright, push that in. And we'll latch that down as well. You latch it down by sliding your finger over the top. You don't want to use any tools to kind of like push it, because I've seen people break these plastic tabs off. All right, then we're going to get this cable, line that up. Might have to peel it up a bit. It's a little bit misaligned. Let's see here. Is it because this motherboard is not aligned? So let's loosen some of these screws. Okay, and let's see if we can move this up a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and tighten the screws back down. All right. Now that everything is tightened into place, let's go ahead and get this little metal cover back on top. Okay. Into place. We're going to loosely fit that screw first. Get the second screw. We'll tighten this into place. All right. And then the screw for the heatsink here. Don't forget that up in that corner here. Oops. All right. Now we just got to get the screen back in and then reconnect the keyboard, or not the keyboard, sorry, reconnect the battery. All right, so we're going to flip this back over. Zoom out again. Okay, zoom out maybe a little bit more. All right, let's get the screen and drop that into place. So for the screen, you want to make sure to hold these cables up and out of the way, the little spring-loaded ones as well. Okay. We're going to slowly, carefully drop that into place. Let's move this back hanging over the edge of the desk. Okay, drop that into place. And then make sure this cable ends up on top. All right, now we're going to hold the screen up, and then we're going to get the, excuse me, the 6 T8 or Torx 8 screws back in. All right. And I like to loosely fit these first. Actually, I should only be putting the ones closer to the center first, because we are going to have to align the screen. Okay, so let me actually do that first. So I'll tighten these two a bit more. Okay, then what we're going to do, we're going to close the screen. So carefully, slowly close this. All right, just like that. Let's zoom in here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to loosen these screws. And then you want to make sure the screen is all aligned properly. Okay, I like to go around the edges like this. All right, and then try and get the gap here lined up as well. Can be a little tricky. All right, here we go. Then you can go ahead and tighten these ones down. go. All right, then we're gonna use the red thread locker, and we're just gonna put a tiny bit on each screw. So we're gonna take these back out, get some red thread locker on there. Okay, and we'll tighten that into place. All right, and we're gonna do that for all 6 screws, okay? Take this one back out. Same thing, add a little. Okay. All right, get this. All right, tighten that into place. We're gonna leave this one for now to keep it held in place. All right. Put that on there, tighten that down. Good. All right, get the other one. Tighten that down. And then we'll take this one back out. Alright, add some to there. Okay, we're done with the thread locker. Good, we're going to flip this back over. Now what we're going to do, we can go ahead and put these screws back in first. We're done with the T8 or Torx 8. Now we're going to switch over to the T3 or Torx 3, right? And we're going to put these little spring-loaded ones in first. Okay, so you have to kind of rotate these springs to get this in right. Oops, I should probably zoom in to show this better. I'll do it with the other one. So we're going to hold that in place. Get the screw in. Just like that. And get the other screw. Same thing. Hold that in place and tighten the screw down. Okay, we're going to do the same with the other side. Alright, rotate the spring. Okay, get that lined up, hold that in place, get the screw in. Alright, then we're gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. This has to go on top. Alright, but first we're gonna get the wireless antennas back in, so let's zoom out. So this, we have to go in again at an angle like this to get these wires back into this little hole. Okay, then we're gonna rotate it over again, get that up. Alright, make sure these sides are lined up. And then when you have that lined up, you can go ahead and push that middle down. Kind of will click into place. You can see if we pull it, the middle stays in. Okay, that's good. Let's go ahead now and actually get these wireless antenna wires into place using the P2 or Pentalobe 0.8. Hold this in place. Tighten that screw. I like to do the 2 outer ones first, so that way it'll hold itself in place, and then you can just put all the rest easily. Okay, so do that. Now we can do the rest. Alright, and the last one. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to go to the other side. Get that in. right, get the other one. Get that in. Let's get the rest. This one might be stripped. Okay, let's get the next one. The threads into here on this screw aren't holding, so I can actually keep twisting that one. All right, we're gonna get this one in. Good. All right, let's go ahead now and reconnect the wireless antennas. Okay, so you just gotta get them all lined up. Okay, the way you know it's lined up is if you try and move it around while it's in place, it will actually stay there. All right, it came out again. All right, and then you can go ahead and push it down. I'm gonna get the other one in, line that up, and push that down. All right. So done with that for now. Actually, let's go ahead and put in these other screws. So we're gonna get, the LCD connector into place. So line that up. Usually I have to pull it down slightly towards the center to get this connector to go in. Right, click that into place. Good. All right, let's actually put the T5 screws first so that it doesn't move around. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get the T5 screws over here into place. I'm gonna loosely fit them first, just to make sure everything's lined up. There's some dust there. Okay, get those two, and then we'll get these two. All right, and then we'll get this one. All right, so now the wireless antenna is held down. We can go ahead and now tighten the four holding this board down. All right. Okay. Switch back to the T3 or Torx 3. Okay, and let's go ahead and get these in place. We'll get this metal plate. Oops, sorry. So we put this metal plate back on top. All right, and we'll carefully tighten that. We're just going to loosely fit it first. The second one, make sure it's lined up. And get this screw in. Okay. Can be a little bit tricky. There we go. All right, hold that in place and tighten that screw down. Then tighten the other one. There we go. Now we're going to get this metal plate. Right, and we'll get this in place. Just loosely fit first. Okay, line this up. Get that screw in. There we go. We can tighten it down. Tighten that down. All right, we got the, okay, let's go ahead and get the little plastic things for the hinge screws. Get that in. It has to go in at an angle. Okay. There we go, and we'll get these two screws back in. Just like that, tighten them down. Okay, we're gonna go to the other side. Same thing, get these plastic tabs into place. Then we'll tighten these down. Right, make sure both of them are nice and tight. You don't want to over tighten them though, because it's going into plastic, and if you tighten too hard you can actually crack the plastic. Okay. All right. Next we got the trackpad connector here. I think we're done with the T3. I'm going to switch back to the T5. Okay, we'll put this back over here. Get that lined up and get that screw. And get this screw in. Okay, there we go. This one's a little crooked. I'm going to make sure it goes in the right way. We go. All right. Next, we're gonna transfer over the little cable from the battery here, from the old one. Okay, and just like the other ones, we have to flip that latch up. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. So again, we're gonna flip this latch up here. Okay, just like this. All right. Once you flip that latch up, you should be able to pull this cable out. Right, I'm going to straighten it a bit to make it easier to work with. Now we're done with this, so let's set that aside. Okay, and now we're going to attach this onto here. Make sure that latch is up. Get that cable into place. Okay, and get that pushed in. And slide your finger over to lock it down. All right, next we're going to put the T5 or Torx 5 screw right there to hold down the battery tab. All right, you want to make sure it's centered. If this, the two gold pins here aren't centered, or the gold pads, you can actually loosen these screws and then move this board around. But there we go. Okay, let's tighten this in. Good. Then we're going to get this cable and put that back in. Make sure the plastic tab is out of the way. All right, and we're going to get the gold connector in, slide that into place, just like that. You can also use this tab to help pull it in. All right, then we're just going to slide our finger over the top to lock it down, just like that. Then we're going to put this plastic piece back on top. Okay, just like that. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and see if it powers up. If it powers up, we're going to put the bottom cover on and we're good to go. All right, so we'll zoom out a bit here. Oops. Okay, almost dropped that battery. All right, let's go ahead and see if it powers up. We're most likely going to have to plug it in. A lot of these MacBooks, if you disconnect the battery, then it's not going to turn on until you plug it in. So let's go ahead and open this up and see. Okay, I actually feel it clicking, so it might be turning on without me having to plug it in. Let's go ahead and wait for it and see what happens. Okay, I still feel the clicking. And it's showing low battery. Okay, so let's plug this in. Hear the charging sound, and there you go. So it should be good to go. All right, I didn't want to show the user account, so let me get this out of the way. Okay, and we're just gonna now shut it down. It's showing the battery's 100%. I don't know how true that is. I'm gonna open the guest account. Okay, so we're gonna start this up. It's loading into guest mode. Okay, loading. It's also good to do a PRAM and SMC reset. So we'll test that after this, but we want to make sure it's starting up. It's taking a while. Okay. This guest mode is taking a while. So if yours is taking a while, I guess that's normal. So yeah, don't panic. At least not yet. Give it some time. Right, trackpad's working. I can see the mouse moving around. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. And then I'm just going to test the keyboard. Okay, it looks like it's working. Okay, I was just typing the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog so I can make sure all the alphabet works. And looks like it's good. All right, caps lock light does come on. All right. So we're good. Let's try and do a PRAM and SMC reset. So I'm going to try SMC reset first. Control Option Shift on the left side, power button. All right, you can see it shut itself off. Now we're going to do a PRAM reset. So what we're going to do, turn it on, Command Option P and R. All right, and while it's turning on, it should restart itself multiple times. You should see should actually hear the chime usually, because it sets the volume to the max. But I don't know why some MacBooks just don't like to chime. I did see the screen go on and then back off, and that's how you know that it worked properly. Okay, usually once you see the screen go off, you can actually let go. You don't have to keep holding it, but I kind of want to hold a little bit longer just to see if anything changes. I see the screen's on and it turned off again. Okay, so we should be good. And that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and put the bottom cover back on. So I'll let this boot up one more time fully. And then I'm going to also unplug the thing once I'm sure it's on, just to confirm that it's working on battery power, not on charger power. Okay, it's on. Unplugged it. It's still working. It's showing 80%. We're going to shut it down now. Okay, let's go ahead and close this. And now let's go ahead and put the bottom cover on. So to put the bottom cover on, you have to actually slide it in at an angle. So basically opposite of how we removed it before, we kind of pulled the bottom out and then pulled it that way. This time we're going to slide it in that way. Okay, make sure the side edges here line up. Okay, and then we can hold this down here and slide that in. Then we're going to do the same over here, hold that down, slide it in, and then do it again just to make sure it's all flush. Same thing, and there we go. Now we just pop that all back down and then switch back to the Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver and get all these screws back in. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers, so keep that in mind. I don't own them, so by the time you see this video, I likely won't have the computer to show. All right, but yeah, other than that, that's all there is to it. One more screw, and we're good to go. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.